here in Pomona, California. It's the 6th of May, and they have a great show out here twice a year, once in November, once in May. It's an all Militaria show, and I believe there's about 350, 400 tables here. Quite a bit of really good Militaria. The show's located out in the Los Angeles County Fairgrounds, which is right at, you have to come into the Ontario airport. Don't go to LAX because it's too far and the traffic is too much. So best to come to Ontario if you want to go to this show. And I'm telling you, it's worth it. There's a lot of good Militaria here. We saw a lot of Japanese things, a lot of German things, a lot of American, and we'll take you inside in a few minutes. Well, we're here at the Pomona Show, and we stopped by one of the better tables here. We're at George Noterpool's table. George, you've been at this a long time, haven't you?
A long time. I've been every Mac since day one.
I think you have.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Where are you out of, Arizona?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, sir. George knows what he's doing, and you can look at some of the things here. You have some varied Militaria. There's an Imperial Cuirass here, a lot of daggers, some fantastic armbands. What kind of armband is this, George, and this one?
These are party official armbands, and usually the more stripes on them is the higher the rank.
Uh-huh.
Party officials.
And the cord on the border has something to do with them too, right?
Well, you had it at Reich, Price, or Port level, and depending on the color was part of the country they were in. These are more local level officials.
So those would be the smaller towns and things like that.
Right.
So can I assume that the one with the bigger leaves is higher up than the one with the smaller leaves? Yes. That's true?
That's correct.
I think the ones in the middle were active and the others are administrative or something like that. I don't know.
It goes on and on and on.
The Nazis had more crazy.
Yes, they did.
Man, did they know how to make up rules and
well, they kept changing it too.
And they kept changing
it. The bigger, the longer they got, the more involved they got.
Right. How do you like these California shows?
They're fine. East Coast shows are better. The East Coast shows draw more people and, more crowd, absolutely. California, you remember the old Great Western where they used to get 50,000 people through there. You can't get 1,000 people. Where do they go? Huh? They don't move out where you are?
Nah, you know what it is? They took guns away, and let's face it, the guns are probably what brought the big crowds. At least the people that are here, hopefully they're going to spend some money.
Hopefully. I've seen little sign of it yet, but hope springs eternally.
Well, it's always good to see you, and I wish you a lot of luck, too.
Likewise.
Well, we stopped over here at Bruce Herman's table, and many of you people may recognize Bruce. He's a big star on the Antique Roadshow. Oh, you are. You're a well-known guy.
Yeah, I guess so, Tom.
Bruce has a wonderful selection of things, and which he always has. I know this man for years. You can depend on him. When you're dealing with Bruce, you're dealing with an ace.
Well, thank you.
He really knows what he's doing. This is quite an SS officer's visor you have here. Could you tell us a little bit about it, Bruce?
Yes, this is an Allgemein, meaning the General SS, officer's visor cap, probably about 1936-38 period.
How would you know it's an officer from an NCO?
Well, the quality of the manufacturer. The officer has the deep crushed velvet. Both an NCO or an enlisted man and officer all have the white piping, but it's the quality of the cap, the way it's made, as they say, the deep crushed velvet.
I guess the cords too.
The cords,
right?
You'd have
a leather band.
Right, the leather band with a little buckle on the front for the enlisted. You got the aluminum chin cords, and then as they say, the high quality inside.
That's really a beautiful cap.
It is. These are very popular with collectors, especially the second pattern insignia. This is the second pattern, 1936 pattern eagle, and the jawed type second pattern skull. The earlier one has the old traditional Prussian Danzig.
That's the preferred type,
That's the preferred type, yes.
What would a collector expect to pay these days? $8,000-$10,000 for something like that, or more?
And then some. These can range. This one has a little bit of condition issues. It's got some problems with the piping here from bugs over the years. This cap's about $12,000. I recently sold a textbook example, in mint condition for about $18,000.
Wow,
So they can be quite pricey.
What a great investment.
They're a great investment because I remember these were $1,500, $2,000 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So they're really, they're a hell of a lot better than stocks and bonds.
Well, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're doing a great job. Every time I turn on the television, there you are, buddy.
Thanks, Tom.
Wearing his badge. Why would you wear an iron cross? Why is that, Tom?
Oh, I got a wart right there.
You got a wart? You got a hole in your shirt?
There's a hole in my shirt and the wart's sticking out, so this is good. All right, we ready? Okay, we came over here at the California show, and look who we found, Bob Demmel. Most of you people are familiar, I would think, with Bob Demmel's name. He's an SS expert. Been in the hobby for how long, Bob?
30 years, but I wouldn't say experts.
You're an expert.
Just experienced.
Very experienced.
How's that?
I know Bob for many years, and he's a good guy to deal with. You have some wonderful things here. I see like some collar tabs. Could you maybe take those out and tell us what they are?
Absolutely.
A lot of collectors would appreciate seeing these things because most of the stuff you see like this is fake these days, and it's nice to see real things.
A lot of collectors see a lot of this, but about 1 in about 500 might be real.
That's the problem.
That's obviously the problem, and most of them come from Pakistan. But we got an officer's pair here. We've got a late war enlisted, what they call a bevel woven pair. And we got a couple of pair you don't usually see.
The thread looks odd there. Is that something
that's called a flat wire bevel woven officers, later war.
Yeah.
And a machine woven officers. These were more expedient to make than the bullion, as you can see, still being officers.
Now I'm seeing with a green background. What does that mean with these
Those
runes?
are actually for policemen who were members of the SS.
I see.
Right, and here's an enlisted one that has officer piping around it, probably for a field uniform.
Now, why would that be? Enlisted runes and piping around it? They just he became an officer in the field, or
that's quite likely. Or if you're out in the field and you're out in a day like today, where it's nice and sunny, and the sun glistens off of this, you're going to get shot quicker than you would off of this. So that might be a problem.
That's a good point.
Right.
I see these initials on here. What is SD? What does that mean?
That was worn pre-war and during the war on the left cuff of SS uniforms for the Sicherheitsdienst, which was the kind of the security service of the SS. And you have an officers and you have an enlisted.
Those were pretty scary guys, I guess.
They probably did some work we don't want to talk about. Yeah.
Why is this eagle different from these eagles?
That's actually the first type SS sleeve eagle.
When would that have been worn?
That would have been late 30s for the SS VT, when they converted over to the military arm of the
See, folks, I told you this man knows what he's talking about.
Don't ask me about other things.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. I hope we'll see you at the MAC show this year.
Every year since '84. I'll be there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good show. Well, here we are. We're visiting with Larry Stone, a man that I've known, I guess, about 25, 30 years, something like that. We go back a long time. Larry used to do MAC show videos at one time, too, and I have to admit he did a better job at it than I ever did. Larry has a fantastic autograph album that he's going to show us today. It's extremely historical, and Larry, you might explain what you have here.
Basically, this is the guest book from 4-star Admiral Ulysses S. Grant Sharp, Jr. He was SINCPAC from 1964 to 68, which means he commanded U.S. forces in the Pacific during the build-up and escalation of the Vietnam War. He was basically the guy that if he said jump, William Westmoreland said how high.
So he was Westmoreland's boss then?
Precisely.
I see.
And his headquarters is in Honolulu, and anytime anyone involved in the strategy and planning behind the Vietnam War came to visit him, they would autograph this guest book, because it was kept in Honolulu at the headquarters. And the book contains every significant figure involved with the Vietnam War from Lyndon Baines Johnson on down. It has the signatures of Lyndon Johnson, Hubert Humphrey, Richard Nixon, Robert McNamara, William Westmoreland. It just goes on and on and on.
Some pretty famous and infamous names there.
Yeah. There's a lot of autographs of guys that were real influential in the CIA planning and strategy. The guy Colby, who was responsible for the Phoenix program, he's signed in here.
How many signatures are there approximately?
There's over 1,000. There's about 1,050 autographs in this book. So it's probably the most historically significant collection of Vietnam War autographs that will ever be assembled.
How did you happen on such a historical piece like that?
Well, when Admiral Sharp's son had hired a dealer to do the estate sale down in San Diego, and they called me to do the appraisal for the estate sale. Sharp's been dead quite a few years, and then I think his second wife just passed away like 2 or 3 years ago. And
so then it
came up, and it was time to liquidate the contents of the house. And it's a beautiful little house down in the Point Loma area. Anyways, I went and did the appraisal for the estate sale deal. Bought a couple little pieces, no big deal, but they had their sale. And the Monday after the sale, the dealer called me and said, Larry, I found a trunk in the garage that we never saw. It's full of Admiral stuff. Do you want to come take a look?
Well, that's the kind of stuff you perch your
Yeah, it's like, so I'll be down there in about 15 seconds, you know. So went down, and in this trunk was this piece here, which is basically a national treasure. A lot of presentation plaques to the Admiral from various heads of state and admirals and generals of various Asian countries. Just a wonderful, wonderful trove of history.
I don't know how you could ever even put a price on something like that. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it is very difficult, and I haven't had any formal auction estimates, but you know, it's going to be in the tens of thousands.
I would think so.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful artifact. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You must feel pretty important with that.
Well, it's the nicest thing I've seen at the show.
You know, we walk around here, we see a lot of Third Reich and, you know, a lot of American stuff too. And it's, of course, it's all historical, but not like that.
Yeah.
That just really reeks of American history.
Yeah. It's
and a time that was, you know, it was a rough time.
Rough time, very controversial.
I remember it well. It was really something.
But there's just a trove of research that can be done. All the signatures are dated, so you could basically get a timeline of the Vietnam War and kind of understand why this particular person or that person was actually visiting Admiral Sharp at that time.
Yeah, I see. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it.
It's great to see you guys.
Good to see you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yes, we're here at the famous Wolf Hardin booth at the Pomona Show in California. And behind me is easily several $1 million worth of original artifacts. The top things in the hobby. Just glaring out in front of us is a mannequin of the Fuhrer and the Reich Marshal, Hermann Goering. Both of them in original uniforms. And behind them are the standards of a Luftwaffe flak unit, an Army infantry unit, and a Luftwaffe flight unit. Absolutely beautiful. Should be in a museum. It's amazing that things of this caliber are still held in private hands. It's interesting too, Steve and Neil have some of the highest awards we've ever seen. These are the oak leaves to the Knight's Cross. This particular grouping was given to Gustav Pressler, the photograph of him. He's also wearing his oak leaves. The oak leaf document has a gold eagle on the cover. And not only do Wolf and Hardin have one of these, but they also have another one. This one was given to the famous U-boat commander Otto Kretschmer. Oak leaves with swords, this is. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Worth a fortune. Coming down the other side. I see two personal standards that belong to Hermann Goering. This one as a general, and the one on the right as a Reich Marshal. And in between are two original Mein Kampfs bound with original amber. And then to the left is an array of fabulous, fabulous daggers. Luftwaffe with Damascus blade and 2 etched Luftwaffe blades. A diplomat, a Tino officer, a Emmelvoos ivory grip, a beautiful RAD, and a chained NPEA leaders on the end. And of course you have to have a Knight's Cross in the middle. It's really just something that if you don't get to the show, it's a great opportunity that we have here just to show you some of the things that can be seen at these shows. And as I said before, these things will be in museums in years to come. It's really something to see here.